At the level of contrast, a candidate should be able to discuss contrast. Now, if, for example, they always ask questions like discuss contrast in Ampamwan Will Flow by Bole Butake, you discover that a candidate goes and in his body, the candidate does this. Contrast, we find contrast between Shengong and the Fon and discusses, give out points to show maybe Shengong is how do we say, Shengong is understanding why the Fon is a dictator. You go ahead again. We find contrast between Kibaranko and the Earth Goddess. You see, you are bringing again contrast at the level. You go again, you say we find contrast between Wei and the Fon. You bring out, you go, we find contrast between Kwengong and the women. You go down again. So you discover that at one point in time, there is a problem. You have given many instances of contrast, but the question is, at what level are you discussing that contrast? At the level of characters. And so you are discussing contrast at the level of characters in different paragraphs. And now you leave the hall maybe saying that you have written the GCE so well, that GCE was cheap, of which you misinterpreted the question. You should not discuss contrast only at the level of characters. Contrast should be at the level of characters, at the level of setting. It means that if you want to contrast, you contrast Shengong and the Fon. You contrast the Earth Goddess and Kibaranko at the level in one paragraph. Characters. You take at the level of themes. You can contrast themes. We have humility versus dictatorship. We have generosity versus hatred and all the rest. You contrast at the level of themes. You go to settings. You have to contrast at the level of settings. We have Shengong Shrine versus the Fon's Palace, and maybe when you bring out those contrasts like that, it matters. Even the palm wine bush or the forest where they were killing people in the village, where the Fon gives orders that they kill people, can be contrasted with Shengong's palace, Shengong's shrine. Sorry, and then at the end of the day, you discover that you've given three levels of contrast. One at the level of themes, two at the level of characters, and three at the level of settings. So you have to program your contrast like that in good paragraphs. Now, when you find yourself saying contrast at the level of, you just start by saying contrast between Shengong and this, or you even say, some people even say contrast between Shengong and Kwengong, contrast between this. It will not go. It cannot go. So please discuss contrast at different levels to have complete.